If you've ever paused to think about what would happen if you had a heart attack while you were completely alone, you know just how unsettling that thought can be. It's not something anyone wants to imagine, but the reality is that many people do find themselves in that exact situation, suddenly experiencing terrifying symptoms, without anyone nearby to help, unsure of what to do next. Most of us assume that heart attacks come with plenty of warning, or that we'll have someone around to support us if it ever happens. But the truth is far more sobering. The first few minutes are absolutely crucial, and how you respond in those moments can be the defining factor between life and death. Fortunately, you don't need to be a doctor, nurse, or trained responder to act effectively. Even if you live alone, even if you're older or have limited mobility, you can still survive a heart attack if you recognize the warning signs and follow a clear plan of action. This guide is going to walk you through 7 essential things you must do the moment you sense something isn't right, and you're the only one around. Each of these steps is simple but powerful. They require no special equipment, no complicated medical training, just your awareness, your calm, and your willingness to act. These are the life-saving habits that you'll wish you had known, and once you learn them, you'll never forget them. Let's begin with the very first and arguably the most important step: recognizing the early signs of a heart attack before they escalate. Most people think of heart attacks the way they're shown in movies, a sudden, dramatic clutching of the chest followed by collapse. But in real life, the signs are often much subtler and more insidious. You might feel a strange heaviness or tightness in the center of your chest, like a weight pressing inward or a slow, crushing pressure building. This sensation can come and go, which makes it tempting to ignore or dismiss. But any discomfort in the chest, especially if it lasts more than a few minutes or keeps recurring, must be taken seriously. Shortness of breath is another key signal, and it might arrive with or without chest pain. If you find yourself struggling to breathe, as though you've just climbed a flight of stairs even though you're at rest, that's a red flag. Other symptoms include pain or discomfort in the arms, often the left, but sometimes both, shoulders, neck, jaw, or upper back. Some people feel lightheaded, break out in a cold sweat, become nauseated, or experience dizziness. For older adults, and especially women, the pain may feel more like pressure in the upper stomach or back, rather than the chest. It's easy to brush these signs off as indigestion or fatigue, but that's a dangerous gamble. Take Richard, for instance, a 74-year-old man who noticed a strange tightness just beneath his collarbone one morning while sitting at the kitchen table. It felt a bit like heartburn at first, but it didn't go away, and soon he was short of breath and sweating. Instead of shrugging it off, he remembered something he had read about heart attacks not always beginning with pain and decided to act. That choice saved his life. The human body often sends quiet warnings before it screams in crisis, and learning to hear those whispers is your first chance at survival. If something feels off, especially if it's a combination of tightness, fatigue, shortness of breath, or unusual discomfort, stop what you're doing immediately. Don't try to push through it. Don't rationalize it as nothing. Treat those early signs with the seriousness they deserve. The next step, once you suspect a heart attack may be beginning, is to call emergency services right away. This isn't the time to wait and see. This isn't the time to call a friend or family member first. The moment those symptoms appear, pick up the phone and dial 911 or the local emergency number in your country. Do not attempt to drive yourself to the hospital. That is one of the most dangerous mistakes people make during a heart attack. Symptoms can intensify rapidly, and if you lose consciousness behind the wheel, you could cause harm to yourself and others. Emergency medical teams are trained to provide life-saving care on the way to the hospital, and every minute you delay treatment increases the damage to your heart. When you call for help, you're setting into motion a response system designed to give you the best possible chance of survival. Consider Linda, 78, who experienced a dull ache in her left shoulder, followed by sudden nausea and cold sweats. Her first instinct was to call her son, but then she remembered something a nurse once told her. If you think you might be having a heart attack and you're alone, call emergency services first. She did. By the time paramedics arrived, her symptoms had worsened, but because help was already on the way, she received immediate treatment and avoided further damage. The dispatcher won't judge you if it turns out to be something less serious. In fact, they'd rather you call and be safe than wait too long and regret it. Make sure your phone is always within easy reach, especially at night or in areas where you spend a lot of time alone. Learn how to use the emergency call function even when the screen is locked. Many phones have shortcuts you can activate with a few quick taps. Those seconds matter. Once you've called for help, the next most effective thing you can do, if you're not allergic and you're not on medications that make it unsafe, is to chew a standard aspirin. Not swallow, chew. This helps the medication enter your bloodstream more quickly, thinning your blood and slowing the formation of the clot that is likely causing the heart attack. A single 325 milligrams aspirin chewed thoroughly can buy you precious time, possibly enough to keep blood flowing to your heart muscle until professional help arrives. Don't worry about taking it on an empty stomach. The risk of bleeding is small compared to the potential benefits. Avoid taking enteric-coated or delayed-release aspirin unless that's all you have, and even then, chew it to speed up the absorption. Joe, 72, is a perfect example of how this simple action can make a world of difference. He began feeling pressure that spread from his chest to his throat early one morning. He remembered a bottle of aspirin in his kitchen cabinet, chewed one immediately, and sat down to wait for paramedics. Later, doctors told him that ACT likely reduced the extent of the damage to his heart. It's easy to underestimate the power of this step, but it's backed by decades of medical evidence. Keep aspirin in accessible places, your nightstand, your purse, your kitchen drawer. If possible, store a few tablets in a small case in your wallet or pocket. Make sure they haven't expired, and let your loved ones know where they are too. Once aspirin has been taken, your next job is to stop moving and conserve energy. The heart is under stress and needs as little strain as possible. Sit down in a stable chair with back support, rest your arms comfortably, and keep your feet flat on the floor. If you're feeling dizzy or weak, lie down on your side with your head slightly elevated. This reduces the heart's workload and helps stabilize your condition while waiting for medical assistance. Don't feel embarrassed about doing nothing. In this case, doing nothing is actually doing everything. Alice, 81, felt a growing pressure across her chest and had the urge to clean up before calling for help. But she remembered her doctor's advice. When in doubt, sit down and let your body rest. She found her favorite chair, reclined gently, and remained still. Paramedics later told her that stillness helped prevent her condition from worsening into cardiac arrest. If you can, breathe slowly and deeply, but don't force it. Just focus on being calm and motionless. That alone helps reduce the heart's demand for oxygen, which could be the buffer your body needs. If after calling for help and sitting or lying down, you still have some strength, one small but critical step is to unlock your front door. Emergency responders are trained to force entry if needed, but that takes time and could even put you at risk if you're near the door when it happens. By unlocking the door, you give them instant access to your location. If you live in a gated community or a building with multiple apartments, make sure your address is clearly visible. Consider installing a lockbox with a spare key or using a smart lock with remote access if mobility is a concern. Paul, 76, lives in a condo and felt symptoms while sitting in his living room. He managed to unlock the door after calling 911 and then returned to his chair. Paramedics reached him quickly and said that ACT saved them 30 seconds, enough to begin administering care without delay. If walking to the door feels too risky, don't push yourself. But if you can do it safely, unlocking the door might save your life. During this time, your phone becomes a tool far more powerful than just a way to talk. Switch it to speaker mode if you can so you don't have to hold it, which allows you to conserve energy and focus on staying calm. Emergency dispatchers may need to hear your breathing patterns or background noises to assess your condition. Additionally, if you lose consciousness before help arrives, your phone may still help speak for you. Most modern smartphones have a built-in medical ID feature that can be accessed from the lock screen. You can store critical details like your age, medical conditions, allergies, medications, and emergency contacts. Susan, 79, passed out before the ambulance arrived, but because her iPhone had her medical profile activated, the paramedics learned she was diabetic and allergic to penicillin, information that help guide their treatment. It's simple to set up, and may one day be your voice when you no longer have one. Finally, one of the most powerful tools you have in your arsenal is your breath. When you're scared, your breathing becomes shallow and rapid, which causes your heart to work even harder. By deliberately slowing your breath, you help reduce that demand. Try this basic rhythm. Inhale through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold it for a moment, then exhale gently through your mouth for 6 seconds. Repeat. Even in the grip of pain or fear, this focused breathing slows your heart rate and calms your nervous system. Frank, 83, used this technique while waiting for help after feeling intense pressure in his chest. He kept his body still and his breath slow. He later said that controlling his breathing was what kept him focused and grounded until help came. It's not a cure, but it's a stabilizer, and that can be the difference between recovery and tragedy. Practice it when you're healthy, so it becomes second nature in moments of panic. In closing, surviving a heart attack when you're alone isn't about luck or superhuman strength. It's about recognizing the signs early, acting without hesitation, and following a series of practical, proven steps. Recognize the symptoms, call for help, chew an aspirin, stop moving, unlock your door if possible, use your phone wisely, and control your breathing. Each of these actions adds another layer of protection. Each one buys you more time and brings you closer to safety. You are never completely helpless, even in the most frightening situations. With preparation and presence of mind, you have the power to save your own life. Now that you've learned these 7 steps, think about how you can make them part of your daily readiness. Store aspirin where you can reach it. Keep your phone nearby and updated. Make your address visible. Practice breathing slowly. Share this information with someone you love, because you never know when the knowledge you hold might save not only your life, but theirs too. Thank you for spending this time with us. If you found value in what you've learned, please let us know in the comments, and consider subscribing so we can continue bringing you empowering, life-saving content. Stay well, stay aware, and most importantly, stay alive.